All right, so Harry and Meghan, right? Lots of buzz lately. Rumors, whispers, separation, Harry jetting off to New York solo. Sounds like the usual celebrity soap opera, maybe.
Yeah, you'd think so, right? But actually, the stuff we're looking at today, it hints at something way more interesting.
More interesting. How so?
Well, for one, we're not just talking tabloid rumors here. We've got sources, some pretty close to King Charles himself, and they're painting a picture of Harry and Meghan and the whole family, really, kind of redefining what it even means to be royal these days.
Redefining royal. Okay. I'm intrigued. So let's start with Harry in New York then. What's he up to? Attending all these global events, giving speeches on climate change. Sounds a lot like
His old royal duties.
Yeah, exactly. But he's doing it during UN General Assembly Week.
Oh, that's interesting, isn't it?
Makes you think, is he trying to prove something? Stay relevant on that world stage even without the crown.
Could be. The sources describe him as being very resolute during these appearances, though. Like he's really carving out his own path, separate, but still wants to make an impact.
So maybe it's not just about relevance then. Maybe it's more about purpose, finding his purpose outside the whole royal machine. You ever feel like that? Like you got to prove your worth outside of a job or a relationship even?
I think a lot of people can relate to that, for sure. And while Harry's off on this solo mission, it's interesting what Meghan's up to.
Yeah, she's working on that documentary, right? But from what the sources say, it's not just a puff piece about palace life.
Oh, no, not at all. It sounds like she's really digging deep, exploring the emotional side of being a royal, all the pressures, the constant scrutiny, trying to hold on to your own identity within that whole system.
There's that incident mentioned where she felt totally silenced, right? Couldn't speak her truth. Pretty powerful stuff.
Yeah, it really challenges that whole perfect princess image we usually see. And it adds another layer to this whole separation idea. Because while Harry's in New York, Meghan's, well, she's finding her own voice through this documentary.
Separate journeys happening at the same time. It's like they're both trying to figure themselves out individually. But
there's still a connection, right?
Exactly. And speaking of connections, got to bring in Charles. He's a constant presence in this whole saga, isn't
Yes,
he?
he is. And the sources close to him, they're giving us a glimpse into his side of things. It's more than just the usual sad dad story, though.
Oh. Lay it on me. What are they saying?
One word keeps coming up. Anguished. Not just sad, but really torn up about it all. Worried about Harry, about the future of the family.
Anguished? Wow. That's intense. Doesn't sound like he's taking this lightly at all.
And this anguish, it seems to be what leads to that invitation to Sandringham, Charles's private estate,
So we're getting into some secret meeting territory now.
Yeah.
What happened there?
The sources are pretty tight-lipped about the specifics, but there's a lot of talk about apologies, discussions about Diana's legacy, even some whispers about Harry maybe having a role in the monarchy again someday.
Wait, hold up. A role in the monarchy? I thought he was done with all that. This is getting juicy.
Well, family's complicated, right? Especially a family like this. Even if you step back, doesn't mean the door's closed forever.
Okay, so we've got secret meetings, apologies, Diana's legacy.
Yeah.
This is way more than just a family catching up.
It is. And you got to imagine the weight of all that, right? Being in that room, knowing that the decisions made there could impact, well, not just their lives, but the future of the whole institution.
Yeah, that's heavy stuff. But then, after all that intensity at Sandringham, we get this heartwarming family reunion at Balmoral. Totally different vibe.
Balmoral, yeah. The Queen's estate. The sources describe Archie and Lilibet playing with Charles, Meghan having a surprisingly warm chat with Camilla.
Hold on, warm chat with Camilla. That's news.
Yeah.
Weren't they supposed to be, not on the best terms?
That's what makes it so intriguing. Is it genuine reconciliation?
Yeah.
Or, maybe a bit more for show?
Right, because there are always those sources who say there's still tension under the surface.
Exactly. So is it a real family healing? Or just a carefully staged performance? It's hard to say for sure, but one thing the sources agree on is that this Balmoral visit was big for Harry and Meghan. They felt a sense of belonging again, a reconnection to the family.
So maybe, just maybe, they're showing us a new way to be royal. You can step away, find your own path, but still have a place in the family.
That's a really interesting idea, isn't it? And this Balmoral reunion, it's not the end of the story. It's just the beginning of a new chapter. And this chapter, it's all about the legacy project.
So the legacy project.
Yeah.
But before we get into that, got to talk about something else.
What's that?
The media. They're all over this story, and it's not always pretty.
Ah, yeah. The media. Can't really talk about Harry and Meghan without bringing them into it, can you?
Nope, not really. And, it's one thing to have the paparazzi snapping pics and all that, but our sources suggest it goes deeper than that. Some really nasty stuff, actually.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, there are the headlines, obviously, always trying to stir up drama. But some sources are saying there's a real, I don't know, almost a prejudice in some of the coverage.
Prejudice, huh?
Yeah, like there was this one incident mentioned where a commentator used the word exotic to describe Meghan's background.
Ooh, yeah, I see what you mean. Not exactly subtle, is it?
Not at all.
Hmm.
And it makes you think, maybe stepping back wasn't just about royal pressures, Maybe it was about escaping a really toxic environment.
That's a good point. And, the sources talk a lot about the impact all this negativity had on their mental health, the constant scrutiny, the disrespect.
Right.
It takes a toll.
Absolutely. I mean, it's got to be hard enough being a royal with all the expectations and everything,
Yeah.
but to have that on top of it?
Yeah, most royals just kind of learn to deal with it, I guess. Keep a stiff upper lip and carry on.
Mm.
But Harry and Meghan, they chose a different path, decided to prioritize their well-being.
And that in itself is kind of a radical thing to do, isn't it? Break the mold. Put yourself first. Makes you wonder, can you be a royal, but on your own terms?
Big questions, right? And that's what makes this legacy project so interesting. It's like they're trying to answer that question, create something that's authentically them.
So what is it exactly? The sources describe it as more than just charity work. It's about building a platform for the things they care about.
Yeah, a platform with global reach. And it's not just about writing checks either. They're really hands-on with this, working directly with communities, building partnerships.
Okay, so we've got mental health, sustainable development, education, all good stuff. But what makes their approach different?
Well, the word that keeps coming up is holistic. They're not just looking for quick fixes. They want to tackle these issues from all angles, get to the root causes.
There's that example mentioned about the program in Africa, right? Providing clean water, but also education and job training, building a sustainable system for the whole community.
Exactly. And it's like they're each bringing their own experiences to this, too.
How so?
Well, Harry, with his military background, he's really passionate about mental health, especially for veterans. So he's taking the lead on projects that focus on resilience, overcoming trauma, that kind of thing.
Turning his own struggles into something positive. I like that.
Yeah. And Meghan, she's always been outspoken about social justice. So she's championing projects that focus on empowering women and girls, promoting diversity, things she's personally dealt with.
Makes it feel more real, doesn't it? Like
Yeah.
it's not just some celebrity charity thing. They're actually invested in this.
Exactly. And that authenticity, it's what's drawing people in. The sources say they've got major philanthropists, global organizations, even some world leaders wanting to get involved.
Oh, wow. Okay. So this is big.
Yeah, it's becoming a movement. People see the genuine passion behind it, and they want to be a part of it.
So maybe
Yeah.
this is what being royal looks like in the 21st century. Not just about palaces and titles, but about using your platform for good.
That's the question, isn't it? And it's not just for royals. It's for all of us. What can we do to make a difference? How can we use our voice to create positive change?
Lots to think about there. But one thing's clear. Harry and Meghan, they're definitely rewriting the rule book, redefining royal, and they're inviting all of us to be a part of that. So this legacy project, it's more than just personal for them, isn't it? It's like they're taking all this stuff, all the drama, and turning it into something bigger, making a real impact.
It's really interesting how they're bringing all these different things together, like Harry's passion for mental health, which comes from his time in the military, and then Meghan with her focus on social justice, from her own experiences. They're weaving it all into the legacy project.
So it's not just a bunch of separate charities under one name. They're actually connecting the dots between these issues, like how mental health ties into social justice or how taking care of the environment impacts both.
Exactly. There's this one project mentioned where they're working with young girls in underprivileged communities. It's not just about giving them job skills, though. It's about helping them build confidence, teaching them to stand up for themselves, even addressing the mental health challenges that come with, growing up facing inequality.
Wow, so they're really trying to create change at a deeper level, not just putting a Band-Aid on the problem.
Right, and that's what makes this different. They're not looking for quick fixes. It's about long-term solutions, tackling the root causes.
The sources mentioned this project in the Amazon, right?
Yeah.
Fighting deforestation, but not just planting trees. It's about working with the indigenous communities, respecting their knowledge.
Yeah, that really stands out. The emphasis on working with people, not just for them. And that respect for local knowledge, it's something you see a lot in their work. Like they understand that these issues are all connected, you know? The environment, social justice, economic opportunities, you can't separate them.
It's almost like they're taking inspiration from Diana, but it's simply apart. For a whole new generation, shining a light on important stuff, but also encouraging people to get involved, be part of the solution.
And that's where this whole idea of legacy gets really interesting, right? It's not just about what they do, it's about the impact they have on others, inspiring people to make a difference.
So are they changing the game for celebrities, I mean, showing that it's not just about being famous, it's about using your platform to do good?
It's a good question. And that's what we're left with, I think, at the end of this whole deep dive. Harry and Meghan, they're still figuring things out, still writing their story, but they're definitely challenging the status quo, making us think differently about what it means to make a difference in the world.
Yeah, we started this thinking it was all about gossip, but it's turned into something way deeper, hasn't it? Personal growth, family, the power of finding your purpose, and how that can ripple out and have a real impact on the world.
It really has. And it leaves us with some big questions, too. Like, what does it even mean to be royal in this day and age? What kind of legacy do we want to leave behind, each of us? How can we make the world a better place?
Stuff worth thinking about, for sure. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.